Welcome back. This segment of our program brought to you by A.G. Hines Company. For the last 100 years, A.G. Hines Company has been East Tennessee's leader when it comes to top quality building materials and tools. If you want your next project to last 100 years, well, I suggest you get down to A.G. Hines Company in downtown Knoxville. You give them a call or you visit aghines.com. When I tell you these are good people, I mean it. Good people. Gordon Hines and his family and the whole team down there, aghines.com. All right, let's welcome in the next two members of our panel. We still have two more guys waiting in the ring. It's like hockey, man. We just change lines. Marlon Walls, VFL, right down here. Thanks for joining us. Josh Ward from 99.1 The Sports Animal. Josh keeps an eye on the social media happenings while we're over here on the set. You just told me there's two announcements that have been made.
Yeah, millennials with their phones, right? Game Day and SEC Nation coming to town. So Game Day coming back twice in 3 weeks in Knoxville.
Pretty impressive, and of course you'll be the 3:30 CBS game again.
Yep.
So I don't want to say feels like 98, but feels like old times a little bit. This segment we talk about the specific areas of the game, position groups, that kind of thing. Things we learned from yesterday's game, and as I mentioned going into break, watching Brian Kelly eschew the field goal. It's 10-0. You make it 10-3, you tell your team, hey, we're a fumbled kickoff away from being tied. Calm down, we're good to go. First quarter, he goes for it. It's not 4th and 1, it's 4th and 4. That's not a gimme. 4th and 4 at the 14-yard line, but he's going for it. I call Bob. I said, I think these guys have it in their heads that they've got to score. He continues to do it. I poked fun at Billy Napier a couple of weeks ago for being the new Les Miles because he kept going on 4th downs. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't, but what a huge advantage for Tennessee if opposing Southeastern Conference coaches are in the first quarter already thinking, oh gosh, we got to get away from our normal game plan. Let's get away from what we normally do. You talk about in their headspace, fantastic. I did not see that coming. That's my takeaway.
As a matter of fact, when you called me, I told you I was wanting to call you because I thought the exact...
Sure you did, Bob.
I thought the 4th and 4 thing, if it had been 4th and 1, okay, fine, go ahead and do that. But the 4th and 4, I thought that was surprising. And then the 4th and 10 at midfield, right before the end of the half, that wasn't surprising. I was sitting there thinking, that's kind of just dumb. Well, and it turned out to be dumb. I mean, 3 points dumb.
It's the second time a coach has done something like that at the end of the half and given Tennessee points out of it. Billy Napier calls the timeout down there late. So I think that's a takeaway for me. That's something I learned, that this is in the other guy's head, and I wasn't counting on that.
Yeah, before the half, that was too much risk, I thought, with too little reward. That actually ended up being the advantage for Tennessee, and I think we've learned that if teams make mistakes, the opening kickoff fumble, 4th down, not getting it, Tennessee is as good as anybody at taking advantage because the offense can strike so quickly. So if you make mistakes against Tennessee, it can bury you, especially if you don't have an offense that can keep up.
That's a good one, the fact that they are taking advantage of all.
Yep.
And you've got some red zone stats we're going to look at later, which also speak to that. Marlon, what did you learn yesterday?
I learned yesterday that this system, Hypo system, can neutralize a good defensive line. Ojulari, heck, I don't think I heard his name the entire game. And it was because system-wise, when you're running plays that fast, man, that's hard to pass rush against consistently. And I think beginning of the game, you can kind of get some in, but like as we went on, heck, you didn't hear that guy's name. So this system is very good at neutralizing great defensive players.
I totally agree with that. I think it too, but I just think I was impressed with the offensive line. I mean, the offensive line not only
backup left tackle and J.J. Crawford.
Those guys didn't get a sack for the defensive linemen, and then you look at what they did on the run game, short yardage, all of those times. This was a dominant performance by them. The offensive line on our side looked like they had the draft picks, not the LSU guys that some of those people were talking about first round guys.
Yeah.
They didn't have a night. I mean, it was a different night. And two, when you look at it at the end of the game, what we talked about too, what I learned is can this coaching staff change that style and do that at the end of the game of saying, we got a control clock, we're not going to let them back on the field. And that offensive line was there to just pound the rock and just take them down.
And that was my big takeaway, that Tennessee did do that, because after the Florida game, I was pretty critical that they tried to do that. I was thinking, go ahead and score, and then it doesn't matter how much time's left, because the worst they can do is get back to even. And so for them to burn over 8 minutes at the end of that game yesterday, they got a field goal out of it. And I had a friend of mine complaining they were kicking a field goal. I said, look, This makes it a 4-score game. It takes the miracle off the table, which you didn't take the miracle off the table against Florida because you didn't execute that offense all that well, and it left a crack. So I had been critical last season and early in this season about the way Tennessee would end its game offensively. I thought yesterday was textbook.
13 plays, 81 yards, 847, and the field goal. I have asked, since we've talked about it in the past, that Josh Heupel has said, yeah, we got a 4-minute offense. And we've said repeatedly, when are we going to see it?
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen it look effective. They've tried it. We just haven't seen it really step on somebody's throat and then be able to run out the clock the way they did against LSU yesterday. So I got to give them credit for pulling it off.
I'm going to point out something else, too, that I noticed yesterday.
Yep.
That was a big takeaway. We would speed it up, and then we would slow it down. I think mentally as a defensive player, you come in that game prepared to say, okay, we know they're going to go fast. And now when you're off balancing that and every once in a while you slow it down, I think that screws with you mentally as a defensive player when you've been told all week, these guys are going to go crazy fast, and I have to adjust to that mentally and physically, and now they're slowing it down on us. I think that plays a big part of it as well.
Well, and especially because it's a changeup, right? All of a sudden I've got fastball, changeup. Well, is the next play going to be fastball, or is the next play, do I have to hop up and run to get lined up, or is it going to slow down this time? I don't know. So I got to be prepared for both, but they may slow it down. So I think it is a little bit of a mind game there that you can play with those people, because you run 3 slow plays in a row, get it down, now it's all fast for the next 3 plays.
Am I the only one
confusing.
that gets nervous when the play clock goes under 20 for Tennessee? I mean, usually you're sitting there watching the game and you go, well, it's under 10, you need to do something. These guys, it's like, what are you doing? There's only 21 seconds left on the play clock.
Josh, you got anything else, or can I throw one at you?
Well, I would throw that short yardage. I think they're so much better because I think there's confidence in the offensive line. I think you're seeing a lot of creativity in what they're able to do. There was a motion play to Princeton Fant, looked like Andy Reid had called it.
Right.
The quick shovel to him, backs out of the backfield. If it's 3rd or 4th down and short, because they were 3 for 3 on 4th downs yesterday, 3 yards or less, I don't know how you defend it because they have so many options.
And not to take anything away from the running backs, but these are the same running backs last year who we said, do we have a big back that can handle us in short yardage? So that speaks to your offensive line. It's the same backs. That's one thing that hasn't popped up. We haven't learned this yet. We expected in the offseason when you started losing bodies out of that backfield, okay, at some point you're going to run out of depth. And we're midway through the season yet, actually one game from being midway through. But so far, the running back depth has not been an issue. As a matter of fact, the balance is insane. Jalen Wright on the year, 67 rushes for 319 yards. Jabari Small, 66 rushes, 315 yards. So 1 carry, 4 yards difference between your 2 guys. I would also want to give credit to the special teams yesterday.
Yeah.
Jimmy mentioned it early on, but you had the fumble recovery on the opening kickoff. Which, let's be honest, they fumbled it right into your arms. You're not expecting it into your. I thought that was a nice recovery.
Yep.
I thought that was a bang play.
Got it.
You got it and didn't bounce it around, bobble it, didn't kick it out of bounds. It was a great play.
I almost thought it was a planned play, how well it came to it. I thought it was a planned play. We're going to drop it right here.
Then you've got the 58-yard punt return from D. Williams in his first touch as a volunteer, first game. 4 of 5 field goals made, and the 5th one went off the upright. Pooch punt inside the 5-yard line. We've said it. It wasn't a perfect game. You still had some issues in your secondary, but I thought that was improved too. We'll get these defenders to talk about that. Overall, that's about as close as you can come to a perfect game when you also throw in the fact it's at Tiger Stadium. No. And I don't care if LSU's not old LSU. That is not a place where you typically go in thinking, we'll beat them by 27. We'll put 40 on them. It was impressive. So.
You know what would have made it perfect? Not wearing a great uniform.
Not a fan of the.
Not my style. Looks good on you.
Yeah, I went with the smoky gray. All right. When we come back, should an injured Vol be rushed back versus Alabama if that's the case? Does he need to be rushed back? Also, is UT doing enough to protect Hendon Hooker? Let's discuss both of those next. Much more to come on The Sports Source.
Away from home? Watch The Sports Source live at WATE.com.